The question is, apparently, what should everyone know?
I think ultimately what a good education would give you would be the inner confidence and the strength to know that you're anyone's equal but no one's superior.
Look, I'm a schizophrenic, so I've got two answers. Obviously, I think that people should study the funniest book ever written, which is Monty Python's Big Red Book. I think that should be an important part of the syllabus. But the other half of me thinks that global political issues, which aren't dull when you're talking about children dying of malaria or the environment, all these big issues about the world in which children are growing up. It seems to me children know so much about the causes of the revolution in Russia in 1918, and perhaps it's more useful that they learn about the way that we can fix the world in this new century.
What I'm going to say is that what everyone needs to know is that they have to pass on what they learn. And whatever you know, whether it's how to build a cabinet, or how to solve an equation, or write a poem, pass it on.
Everybody should know that money can't buy you love and satisfaction and well-being, and that we are trapped in on a sort of treadmill of working to earn and earning to consume, and consuming in ways that will destroy the planet on which all our lives ultimately depend. So we have to think again about how we value time, and how we value paid work, and how we value unpaid work, and how much money is enough to live on.
Everyone should know about the culture of the society from which they come. They should have a liberal arts education. Vocational education dates very rapidly. It isn't the basis of a resource-rich society. The most important thing is to know the shared culture, literature and history within which your assumptions are formed.
What we should know is that we should know ourselves. We should know what it is that we're good at so that we can do more of it and be brilliant at it. We should know what we're not very good at so that we can address it and tackle it. And we should know where we need to go to get help in being even better at the things we're good at and overcoming the things that we find challenging. That's what we should know.
The wonderful thing about education is that it truly broadens your mind. You come in with a certain set of beliefs, a certain history. You're inhabiting your own world, and what you learn to do is to get outside of that world, look at it objectively, understand the distinction between what's subjective and what's objective.
I think it is colossally important that people should have some knowledge of, some reasonably comprehensive knowledge of English history, not just the Tudors and Stuarts in the Second World War or the First World War, and also that they should have some understanding of the structure of government in this country.
We ought to know that we cannot exist in isolation, and for goodness sake, let's have an education that gives us skills in being able to relate to one another.
So well, everybody should know how to read, how to write, how to do arithmetic. Those are the fundamental skills. If you can't do that, you're pretty lost in the modern world. Everybody should know about the culture of the society in which they live. These are things that bind us together, and so we should be transmitting the skills and knowledge which have proved useful in previous generations onto the next one.
I think the ability for young people to be able to project themselves in a positive way is more attractive to employers than actually their qualifications. There's a match that has to be made. And so I think if a young person has the confidence to be able to say, this is me and these are the achievements that I have, and walk confidently into a room, that's a valuable skill to be able to hold on to.
Why do they need to understand the human soul? Because it is the nature of ourselves as beings, as ecological beings, as social beings, as people, that defines our worldview and defines how we interact with our society.
The children who are at school and young people at university now they don't know what the world's going to look like when they graduate. What they need are the technical skills and the kind of imaginative skills to be able to cope with the kind of changes that might happen in their lifetime, to analyse the implications of that for people around the world, and to have the sort of practical skills and confidence to be able to deal with change in a way that means they can use the opportunities that they're presented with rather than simply being scared of change and resisting it.
People should know that their own minds don't work very well. Our memory is fallible. Just because you remember something very clearly doesn't mean that it actually happened. People are far too confident in the correctness of their own beliefs. Everyone thinks that they're right. Everyone thinks they're on the side of the angels. People are very poor at judging probability. We tend to rely on our own memories. Whatever comes to mind most quickly, we think is most probable. One of the things that you accomplish when you go to school is to learn better ways of thinking than the ones that you were born with. You learn statistics, you learn logic, you learn how to do research in libraries. And I think unless you know that, you're not going to learn anything else very well.
Education is all about inspiring students and really making them realise their aspirations, no matter where they're from, what their parents have done, what their brothers and sisters have done. All children have the ability and the possibilities of what they can do are endless.
Well, the three most important things you can learn from school are still reading, writing and arithmetic. So maths is really important. Everything we do in the modern world is maths. English, in our case, the language of whatever country, that's the most important thing because that's all about sociality. And the big question then beyond that is what else? I think history is important because that's part of establishing the community. It tells you sort of who we are and how we got to be here.
You should watch out for thinking of yourself or other people as set and unchanging because that's a trap. It's not true. We're changed by our circumstances, by each other, by the world around us, by the experiences we gather, and we're changing all the time. So it's much more enjoyable to recognise that we've got a growth mindset and that we can grow and change because it means that if you get things wrong, it doesn't matter, you can give it another go. It means that we can learn to be whatever we want to be, really.
We're not just talking about preparing people for the world of work, we're educating citizens, we're asking people to be part of our society and to play a part in it. So I think we have to know what we need to know to be good citizens. I think we need to know the history, who we are as a country, how we got to be the sort of diverse country we are, and what you need to know to take part in that in terms of not just politics but the society you live in. So we should be getting people to participate in making decisions in their own schools so that they can come out and decide what happens in our society, not just be passive parts of it.
One of the illusions about education is that some people have the knowledge and some people don't, but I think really the only way that you ever get to sort of truly understand and feel passionately about something is if you have a kind of will to know yourself, and this is what often gets taken away from people in terms of lack of confidence and so on, or making people feel inferior. So I suppose the only thing that anyone should know is that they can, learn